when it comes to Mars, what I put the pen and wrote down on paper was to ionize the atmosphere because the electromagnetivity of Mars is not active. The north and southern caps, being the North Pole, is not active. However, there are other outlets to colonizing Mars, being that one can ionize the atmosphere, which will light it up and make it light all the time, being by machinery, given where North and South Pole is. And or one could actually cause a climate change there so it would be more suitable to live on. However, because the electromagnetivity is not active and there's no positive or negative pressure, well, there wouldn't be that much. One can ionize it, and what would happen is one can actually build domes, send a stream of drones there in a sequence, transferring light. You can't use sound, obviously, for communication purposes, and set up a stream of them going there to set up a Google platform there, being like Google Earth. One could actually make it to where a drone rotates around Mars and or goes in the gravitational field, because it does have some kind of pull and push. It just is not the same as Earth. It's not going to be 100,000 pascals. It's not going to be 1 bar. One could actually set up a station there with robot technology and make it so humans can move there. There are other outlets and ways also to colonize Mars. Being to terraform it is very difficult because of the size of it. But nuking the North and South Pole is not wise to do, as Elon Musk suggested. If you do that, you will cause a major change, which would actually cause more devastation to it than it would actually help it to make it more inclined and suitable for people in life to be there. What you do is you set up stations and you set up pods and such prior to anyone going there. Robots can build it. You can send communication back and forth to remotely control it. Being how you do it now with the Mars rover, if that is true, is not the way to do it, because it's going very slow and it's only picking up so much of the terrain. It's not picking up everything at all. There are other ways to do it. Being Mars, if you do this, you can have beetles dig in the ground and set up stations so you can go there and live there and terraform it like Total Recall. That is possible, but ionizing it would be wise because you would have an artificial daylight all the time. And it would only last so long, and it can only be sustained so long, depending the type of towers and or technology you drop there. You can terraform Mars over time. It might take 100 years to completely terraform it, but you can make an electromagnetivity active, being North and South Pole, being the type of material there that's electrically charged. Now that's a current of energy that is being displaced through the Earth that makes a polarity of a magnetic wave of energy. Now, if you do this over time, you can set up a North Pole and make it more active and make it stronger so there's more influence around the atmosphere. You're not going to have clouds. The molecules and everything are going to be a lot more lower to the ground. It won't be within the first 20 miles of Earth, like the first 20 miles of Earth where it's from sea level to the atmosphere. 99.9% of all molecules are within that distance. Being there are molecules above that, and you have 61 to 63 miles to the exosphere, but within that range is because of the pressure. It's because of electromagnetivity waves, which set currents like the ocean, one stacked on the other. One brings more energy, it brings more pressure. Then it loosely goes up, and then the way the atmosphere is set up is kind of like an onion of energy. That's why here on Earth, for the speed of sound, the higher you go up, it's not the same. It changes, it fluctuates, it's different. It can go from an X amount of speed of 600 miles per hour to 761 or 768 miles per hour. It'll fluctuate in between that depending where you're at, but it's not going in a sequence of events of chain of numbers. It's not going exactly the same up nor down. It doesn't go 600, 700. It doesn't do that because of the pressure and the waves of the energy. Now, I don't know how Mars is completely set up with its waves of energies because I haven't studied it enough, but you can terraform it. I drew up blueprints on my computer about 5 years ago on how to do it. And the best way to do it is remotely with beetles, being this is the way I designed them, the way I drew them up was to actually send something there with an ion laser that can burn through a plasma laser like we do here through tunneling on Earth. You do the same thing there. And if you do this, you can build tunnels throughout the ground. You can place trees down there. You bring water. You bring your own water there. The trees will produce oxygen by X amount of trees. You bring the water. You have it in a closed capsule. And then what you do is you have sections where it's cut out, where the carbon dioxide can pass through the pods or stations or however you call them, being any type of domicile that you make, and then the lasers will shoot them and clean oxygen will go out. And if you do enough of that, release enough oxygen into the atmosphere over a period of time of how much you colonized, it can terraform it over time. There's other things I'd like to touch base on when it comes to this, but until somebody's listening and or I have more studies, I'm not going to go any further with that.